Okay. Hello, everybody. How's it going? How are you? Happy January 21st. Very excited today. Let's see what is going on. I hope everyone. Hey, listen, we're in Aquarius season. We're in Aquarius season, and Pluto moved into Aquarius yesterday. You're probably going to feel a lot of it today. It went into Pluto went into Aquarius last night. So you're definitely going to feel a lot of it starting now for 20 years. It's really exciting. I hope that you've been reading about it. It's what's really exciting about it is that, again, I've mentioned that nobody that's living on this planet, unless you're a vampire, has experienced Pluto in Aquarius. So very exciting time. We're all doing it together as the world, as humanity, because it is all about humanity with Pluto and Aquarius. And we have a lot of other things. So you're definitely going to feel this big shift moving forward. And we have a lot happening this week. I hope you're excited about this week. There's a lot of changes that are going to be happening. So I wanted to, we're going to talk about February. February is gangbusters. It is like, I'm going to try to, and I'm almost done with all your readings, but they are going to go up on Wednesday. But February, oh my goodness. There's a lot of subtle aspects that are happening. There are bigger aspects that are happening. There's some squares that I want you to look out for, but we're going to get into it. But just for this week that's coming up, because what is today, Sunday? I'm going to post this today. It's wild. I mean, Uranus is going direct. Venus is moving into Capricorn. Which means that we have a stellium still. We have, Mars there. We have Mercury there. So that's pretty big. Full moon in Leo, as we know. We have Mercury conjuncting Mars. We have Venus trining Jupiter on the 28th. That's going to be very exciting. So let's talk about February. I'm going to tell you the best dates, but I'm going to also tell you some dates that I want you to watch out for. Okay, so that's going to be something that that's going to happen in February, where there may be a little bit of a kind of like a wall that you may feel like you have to like break through, but you have all this like empowerment energy. You have all this like activity in Aquarius that's really going to propel you in terms of the way that you think moving forward. And every sign is going to feel this. Every sign is going to feel everything that happens in February. Again, I can't even underplay how big February is. But let's get started with first. Any questions? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jean. Good morning, Karen, Gigi, Amy, it's Katie, Cheryl. It's great to see y'all. Katie, it's your first live. That's great. Thanks for being here. It's always, and feel free to ask questions. I always feel like I want to answer your questions. But February, y'all, does anybody have any questions about January? By the way, January was, it was like it's been immense. Okay. Compared to the months past, I feel like everyone should feel a lot of action, feel a lot of verve, feel a lot of like even inspiration. Like, I want to get this done. I want to do this now. I want to change my life. I want to really, tap into my spirituality and go toward the things that I feel like is my soul journey. Like, there's a lot of movement, okay? A lot of movement in January, and you're going to still feel a lot of it in February. It's going to be, it's going to be a month to remember. It's going to be, yeah. And I'm going with a really big superlative with February. And I'll just go ahead and tell you now, it is one of the biggest months that we're going to see this year, even though, and that's a big statement in itself, because it's not the big, like the biggest months are like April, May, August. I mean, like, but February is still really big. Um, but just remember to mark in your calendars January 28th. You know that's my birthday. So, but no, the bigger thing is January 28th is when we do have the Venus trining Jupiter. This is just absolutely amazing. And then there's just like, and it's not just that day, it's like the things that are happening around that day too that really amplify it. Like it's such a powerful weekend. And for a lot of y'all, I mean, it really depends on a lot of factors like your rising sign, where you are in your life, and the energy that you put forward. Remember, tarot, astrology, they're just tools, they're guidance. It's the energy that you put forward that makes things happen, right? So it definitely take a lot of action and schedule things around that day too. But in any case, let's see what's let's see what's going on with February, because I know I only have like an hour with y'all. Let me just see if there's Karen, you asked, how can I tell what house is being affected by certain transits? Is it the same house that those placements were in at birth? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So definitely your birth chart will definitely tell a lot. It's your the roadmap of your life. So definitely check what planets are in what houses, really says who you are. It can give you an idea of like what things are happening upcoming, okay, based on the planetary aspects, because we look at the history, right? It's all about the math. So that's really, if you're Scorpio sun and Leo rising, you definitely have a lot of activity with career, okay? That's a big thing, okay, for y'all. Partnerships as well. But again, a lot of the aspects that happen throughout the month will fall in different areas of your life, but in general, because that's where Uranus is, and Jupiter, and you always want to track Jupiter. Okay. Hello, Jeanette. Great to see you. Everyone's saying January has been tough. It's been remember, Mars in Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It's Mars is aggressive, and so you got to work with those energies. And it's really crazy because it's like I've had, like, you'll notice in your weekly readings, like I'm doing your readings at night, like because I have a full-time job and I've been working until like 6 or 7 p.m. And it's just like this month has been insane. It has been insane. I even worked over the weekends, on the holidays. I mean, it was kind of crazy. So yeah, Mars is, but I like it because I'm getting things done, and I'm sure you've noticed that about me. Like, I welcome challenges. I love that. I mean, it just, you become like a stronger person, right? It helps you evolve. And so January definitely has been like hit the ground running. I think I mentioned, if you're, I don't know if anyone here is an Aquarius, but in the Aquarius reading, I mentioned that, we have, with all the Capricorn energy, that's our 12th house. So it is subconscious. So a lot of things going on up here, but like intuition as well, but also like facing your fears and things like that. But then I'm a Gemini rising. And so Uranus and Jupiter are in the 12th house as well. So I have 5 planets in my 12th house. I've been in my head like crazy this month. So okay. Amy, thank you so much. I'm very excited. I have some big plans for my birthday this upcoming weekend. I never do anything for my birthday. I really don't. Let's Gigi, you say feel you're moving forward with your spiritual connection. I found a meditation practice that is working for me. That is really great. I'm very excited for you. That's really nice. And I love that because, I I always try to take some time out throughout the day and, mostly over the weekends. Music, I always talk about music, or, well, not, I want to say all the time, but especially when the judgment card comes out, because it is Archangel Gabriel blowing the trumpet. And, sound, I always say sound is healing. And it's a certain frequency of sound that's truly healing. So Gigi, you may want to look into like 432 hertz music, even higher, but whatever resonates with you. Jeanette, well, I'm glad that you learn a lot. Danielle, good morning, y'all. You must be okay. So, wow. Okay, so both of y'all are Scorpio Sun, Leo rising. Oh my gosh. Well, y'all, I mean, like, you're gonna have to really pay attention to this full moon in Leo that's coming up. Okay, that's in a few days from now. Um, okay, so let me just go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes, y'all. Um, oh, Jeanette, that's amazing. Okay, that's y'all. Um, Katie, you have a question. You're a Scorpio. Will GF of year and a girlfriend of year and a half, and I get back to what we had or better. She put up some walls to keep herself safe. Love her. Well, if you're a Scorpio, yeah, there's a lot of focus and attention on partnerships and relationships. Definitely. But remember, you have Jupiter there. Okay, you have Jupiter there, and so you have all this luck, and it really depends on your partner sign as well. But there's going to be a lot happening for you. Okay, so let me and listen. It's gonna like February is gonna be a pretty significant month for you, okay? And it's going to be and for everybody. So why don't I tell you what's going on with February? The very first thing, okay? And I'm again, as with these live sessions, I try not to repeat the things that I say in your actual forecast, but I just have to let it be known. This is a big month with 26 major aspects. I mean, this year and February. Sure, it's a leap year, but February is known to be a short month. And so if you think about it, that's pretty much an aspect for every day of the month. February is loaded. February is a huge month. Okay. Now, everything is moving into Aquarius. Now, when I say everything, like it's not just one planet, it's not two planets, it's six. Okay. Six, and I'm counting the moon. And I know the moon is not a planet. I know the sun is not a planet. We just, refer to it as planet because it's easier. But I could say like celestial body or whatnot, but just easier, just so it's not because I know I throw a lot of astrology at you. So, with that said, buckle your seatbelts. February is going to be big because Aquarius. Okay, so we have the sun in Aquarius. We have Mercury moving into Aquarius, which I didn't mention, by the way. Well, okay, sun in Aquarius. We know Pluto moved into Aquarius yesterday. Okay. We have Mercury moving into Aquarius, Mars moving into Aquarius, Venus moving into Aquarius, and we have a new moon in Aquarius. That's why I'm counting six here. Okay. We have a new moon in Aquarius as well. So that is going to have a really big impact on the Aquarius placements for you, but also like what's happening for you, what Aquarius rules, what house it rules for your sign. Everyone's going to feel a lot of Aquarius energy. And so I've talked about what Aquarius represents. It is like the individual, right? The independent sign, but also the like brainiac, the genius, the intellectual side. It's an air sign, right? The inventor. So it's all about knowledge. If you think about like the symbol of Aquarius, the water bear. So that is going to be a lot of activity in Aquarius. Now, they're not a lot of the planets, like they're going to be overlapping at certain times throughout January, but it really is kind of like the biggest one will be toward like mid-month when Mercury, Mars, and Venus are all in Aquarius. Okay. Now, here's what's really crazy about February. Not only is that happening, and Mercury is exalted in Aquarius. That's something that I forgot to mention in every reading. Mercury does so great in Aquarius, and so it really is like thinking about your future, having conversations about your future, communicating about your future. So even like some of the questions we're asking here, this is a big month of like communicating. What's also really interesting is that February, and this is very rare, Mercury is going to be in 3 signs. We start off with Mercury in Capricorn. Mercury will be in Aquarius. And by the end of February, Mercury will be in Pisces. This is really crazy. Like February is going to be an unforgettable month. It's going to be a big month. So any questions so far on any of that? I mean, any of that. This is like a lot of Aquarius energy that you can expect, okay? Um okay, so I'll answer your questions as they come. Now, here's the other crazy thing about February. And I don't think a lot of people have like in divination have talked about this. There are 8 very important and big conjunctions. Now, as I've explained this in the past, conjunctions in astrology, these aspects are among the highest, if not the highest degree of impact. Okay. These are huge aspects. Okay. And conjunctions are basically when the planets are so close to each other, they're within like 10 degrees. Okay. So it's basically like their energies merging. All right. So it really amplifies the energies of these planets. And so obviously when it's a benefic planet, when it's like Venus or Jupiter, oh my goodness. Amazing. You're gonna feel it. Okay. You're gonna feel it. And so just think about like these 2 planets, whatever 2 planets they are, with these conjunctions. Uh it's almost I don't know, like Thelma and Louise, okay? I mean, they didn't have any power until they were together. Does that make sense? Like, well, they have power, right? But when they got together, that was like boom, boom, boom. It's like Shaggy and Scooby Doo. Like, come on, they're okay on their own. I mean, they're kind of like they do, but when they get together, that's when the mysteries get solved and things happen. So we have 8, and this is just rare. It's just rare in February. We have 8 major conjunctions, some that we will not see. First of all, some that we haven't seen in years, some that we will not see until 2026. I mean, when I say February is huge, February is huge. One of the biggest conjunctions, and I talked about this in your annual forecast, Mars and Venus. Mars and Venus, Venus and Mars conjuncting. You know what happens when these 2 planets get together, and so there is, and then it's not just that, there's, February, if you celebrate Valentine's Day, it just happens to be February is a month with what's happening throughout the month, a lot of intimacy, a lot of sexual energy, a lot of sensual energy. Now, if you're not here for sex, and I talk about this in your forecast, if you're not here for sex or romance or any of that, this is you having this like burning passion, burning desire toward your passions, and it's whatever that may be, and a lot of creative energy, but a lot of drive, a lot of like, I really want to get this done. I really need this. I really want this. Like a lot of that energy happening in February. Again, we have 8 conjunctions, 8, 8, 8, 8. The ones that I'm only talking about, Evelyn, 8 conjunctions that are mm, significant. And these will kind of like, a lot of them kind of like mark new beginnings, right? Because some of these conjunctions, we have Kazimis, all right? So, and Kazimis, as I explained, it's like when the planet is in the heart of the sun. I mean, and this is almost like this rebirth, this refresh energy in your life. And so it's all going toward your path to enlightenment. It's all it is. It's giving this like boost, but also clarity and also just movement and action. So you are definitely, and the other thing, no planets retrograde. There are none in February. There are no planets retrograde, which is, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal because it's just like there's no uh, impediments. Is that a word? There's nothing. And retrogrades, I don't want you to like, they're not bad, right? Some of them are, it's like, but, they all have their positives and, a lot of it's like reflection, but without the retrogrades, it's like all systems go. Okay. And so, our first retrograde actually doesn't for the year doesn't happen until I think it's like April. Okay. So just things are going to move. Things are going to move for y'all. Um, And then we have a bunch of amazing sextiles. All right. And these are just, sextiles are, so I think that I explained, like in one of my lectures, it was just like conjunctions, like the highest, right? And then right up there are trines. And that's when we have this weekend, Venus trining Jupiter. But the trines are, it would be trines and sextiles, and then we have our squares and oppositions. But trines are just equally like auspicious as sextiles, but like a little bit more. All right, trines are more like a hug. Sextiles are like a, well, no, the trines are like a really strong hug. Sextiles are a hug. And again, a lot of it depends on the planets too. A lot of it really just depends on the planets, but trines are just really nice. They're really nice, and they're just very, auspicious. And then sextiles, they are just very like harmonious placements. It's like Batman having his Robin. Okay, let me see. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? So we will have 8 conjunctions, right? Now, the next thing, um, what is the next thing? Let me pull up my note. Let me just look at my notes. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So the next thing is we do have some squares, and squares are when the planets are. How do I don't want to. I'm trying to do this without being like too esoteric. Squares can be challenging. It depends on the planets. It depends on like everything else that's going on. Um, they're they're basically aspects that are in less compatible elements, uh, like air signs and water signs, right? So, but squares, again, it just depends on the planets, what's happening in the moment. But it gives you this time to like work, like do shadow work and whatnot. But we do have we have 2 squares, okay? And so we're gonna feel those. All right. And that's when it's like you will start possibly feeling like it's like a big squeeze. There's something that may be like holding you back. You may recognize it. There may be something like a wall being built in front of you, and you're like, what is going on? And now you got to like navigate it, break through it. And everyone's going to feel it differently, right? Everyone's going to feel it differently based on your birth chart, based on your sign, based on your rising sign. But it is something that I just want you to be aware of for February. And also remember these conjunctions, because they're so powerful, you will feel them. It's like okay, so the Venus conjuncting Mars, that is going to happen on February 21st. So first things first, write this in your calendar. I want you to put this in your calendar now. This is an aspect that we're not going to see again until January 2026. It is rare. It is a very rare aspect. Okay. Put it in your calendar. But even though it happens on the 21st, you'll still feel it for the energy spill over into the next days and even like weeks. I mean, it's a big deal. Big deal. um and then of course toward the end of the month we start to move into Pisces season. So you will start feeling that shift. So it is such a big month. It's such a big month. I don't even know how to it's and so and the forecast that I'm doing for y'all, they are long, okay, but I talk really fast and I try to like get everything in. But even within like that like even talking as fast as I could, they were still long because February is such a big month. Everyone's going to feel something. The last thing we have is a Saturn conjunction at the end of the month. Now, this Saturn conjunction, that is the Sun Saturn conjunction. Oh my goodness. This is happening just days after that full moon in Virgo, which is a big thing in itself. I mean, and on the same day of the Saturn Sun conjunction, we have Mercury conjuncting the Sun. I mean, so we're talking about Kazimis here, okay? Because it's with the Sun and now Mercury conjuncting Saturn, all on the same day. So a lot going on this month, a lot going on. And even when I break it down every week for every sign, in terms of what's going to happen for you, what you can expect, I don't even have, I don't even go through all the aspects. Like there's just too many. And some of these are just so big. Some of these are so big. By the way, if you are here for Valentine's Day, um, if you are Katie, listen, Valentine's Day for you, especially for you, because you're a Scorpio, Valentine's Day. So on the 13th, Mars will conjunct Pluto. These are two very powerful planets. We didn't have Mars conjuncting Pluto in 2023. This is enormous, okay? So you will feel it on Valentine's Day. And Katie, with you being a Scorpio, hey, guess what? Mars, traditional ruler of Scorpio, Pluto, modern ruler of Scorpio. You're going to feel this. You're going to feel it. And on Valentine's Day, by the way, the moon will be in Taurus conjuncting Jupiter. Remember, Jupiter's in Taurus. Hello. A lot of y'all will feel lucky. Maybe I'll put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there because it is what's happening. It is what it is. Some of y'all may get lucky. But it is, remember, Valentine's Day is gonna be like, you got to put, it's like here's the thing. If you're sitting at home and like, yeah, I don't know, binge watching Love Island or something, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. You got to like put that energy out there. You've got to set intentions. You got to do things. You got to take action. Yeah, Mars conjuncting Pluto is big, but it's so big that some things may actually like happen. Right? You may be binge watching. What did I say? Love is Blind or whatever. And you get it like, I don't know, someone swipes right on you, you get a notification that day. I know that there's so many things that can happen, but it is a pretty big month. It's a pretty big month, and it is going to be a month where I'm just going to say it. We have not had a February like this for years. Okay, for years. This is one of the most significant Februaries that we've had. I'm going to go on record saying it is the most powerful, most significant, even like life-changing February that we've had so far in this decade. Okay, if you look back to all the Februaries, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, yeah, no, this is the biggest February. Okay, any questions so far? So Cheryl, you said, Jimmy, I've always been unclear on how you're saying in your readings that a certain sign has a certain planet in a certain house, and then is my birth chart different though? Ooh. I'm actually ironically unclear on, okay, I have to read that. Like, I a certain sign has a certain planet in a certain house, and then is my birth chart different though? A certain sign has a certain planet in a certain house. I'm sorry, I do not. Maybe because I actually don't. I wait. Yeah, so every sign and your rising sign, I mean, your birth chart, yeah, it's going to be different. Like, for instance, like Pluto in Aquarius, let's take that for example. It affects all the signs, right? In different ways, in different areas of their life. But then when you look at where it is in your house, like it really depends on like what's happening there. Okay. So for instance, like, and it's a generational thing. Remember, Pluto it doesn't spend, I mean, it spends the longest amount of time in a sign other compared to the other planets. And so really generational because it takes so long for it to orbit. And so if you're part of like if you have Pluto in Libra, for instance, like that was like what the 70s, 80s. So you're part of that generation, right? But you have to see where it is in your house, and because you're going to find emphasis there. And but it's also like it gets a lot more complex, but it's like how it connects with everything else. I mean, it really is like this roadmap, but there's a lot of math to it. I hope that was clear. I hope that brought clarity. Oh, Jeanette, you're sweet. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I feel I need to. And I've said this in all your readings. Like I love or in past live streams, like I love doing this. I love doing this. I have so much passion for this. So I will make that time to I get really excited by the end of my workday. I'm like, yay, I get to, and because I'm also very curious. I was like, oh, what's happening for Libras or Scorpio? Like it's fun for me and I love doing it. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Alicia, you're late. Oh, thanks so much. Okay, so any other questions? Um, Katie, you asked if I'm gonna do a meetup in person. I don't know, maybe. I mean, Pluto has moved into Aquarius. Maybe. I don't maybe. I've maybe, yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Will be different. I'm not sure if my birth chart for house placements will be different from what you say the house placements are for Scorpios in your readings. Birth chart for house. Wait. Oh my gosh, Cheryl, your questions are so loaded. Okay, wait. I'm not. Wait. I'm not sure if my birth chart for house placements will be different from what you say the house placements are for Scorpio in your readings. Okay. Okay. Um I'm not understanding. Karen, I know. Okay. So okay. So here's the thing, because because so with what I said earlier, the fact that I do have like a full-time job, and then I also have like another uh project that I've been working on for like years and whatnot. I no longer have time, and also because I do your readings, and I there's and that's it's that's another like it takes up time. So I'm like booked for readings for the rest of the year, and I just don't can't I'm not going to be doing private readings anymore. So what I'm going to do in one of these live sessions, and I'm hoping to plan it out. I started thinking about a calendar, started putting a calendar together, but I'm going to bring some people that I personally would recommend in terms of doing like birth charts or and whatnot, like astrologers that are really great at their craft. And so, and for these sessions with you, I'm going to bring one on board who can answer a lot of your questions, and even maybe go into more depth, and even just like even basic things like what your rising sign means and whatnot, and how it affects you, it impacts you. So I hope that helps, Cheryl. But that's so I'm planning that eventually, because like I always love like to I think that if you notice, whenever the Six of Pentacles shows up, I always get really excited. It's one of my favorite cards. It's like sharing the wealth and whatnot. So I love doing that and bringing other people on board. And so I hopefully we'll also have Susan King come back, the intuitive, and so yeah, so other guests that will come back, and new ones, new faces for some interaction with y'all, that can have that time, and you could like book with them and whatnot. But that's I hope that helped your your question. Okay, so all right, so anything else about February? So now let's go through the best dates of February. The best days of February. Now, let's start with the first week. Um, listen, on here's the thing. Again, I'm trying to do this without uh well, you're gonna have your readings on Wednesday when I post them. So I guess okay, but you know what? I'll do it. All right. So on I want you to mark down. Well, okay. So I want you to mark down February 5th, Mercury conjuncting Pluto. This is the first conjunction of the month, and it's intense. All of these that conjunct Pluto is intense. Pluto obviously has this intensity about it, this really this depth. Speaking of intimacy, there's a lot of intimacy there. But remember, Mercury is all about communication. So it's and this happens right before Mercury moves into Aquarius. So Mercury and Pluto being in Aquarius at the same time. So this is a time where some of y'all can go really deep in terms of communication. Mercury in Aquarius is like you could even have a lot of fun with like having really deep conversations around this time, really intimate conversations. There's a lot of power in words now around this time. That it's all like messages, powerful messages could come through as well. But there is also a sense of like, with that depth that I'm talking about, and like Pluto being, representing the underworld, and that, Pluto is a furthermost planet, so it doesn't get any sunlight, right? So that's why there's that association with some of the things Pluto's known for. But even still, some of y'all could actually uncover some secrets around this time, some truths could come to light. But even this is for you to take advantage of this aspect. And this is the only time this year Mercury will conjunct Pluto. So definitely take advantage of this moment, because on the 7th, now mark this in your calendar, Venus trining Uranus. That's right. Venus trining Uranus. So coming right after Venus trining Jupiter. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, Venus, all about love, all about money, romance, beauty, and then Uranus, breakthroughs and surprises. And so when this happens, you could get surprising news, or surprising things could happen around, everything that Venus rules, especially when you think about like matters at the heart. Venus is creativity too. So having like this creative breakthrough as well. Really great social aspect. Really go out there. Really go out there and be social. um, what I love about this too is that uh, Venus trining Uranus, we actually have it 3 times this year. Okay, this is the first one. The next one isn't until August, but this is just such a nice, nice, nice aspect. Um, okay, so let's see. Now, okay, so I'll keep going with the good aspects. You want me to do that? Okay, so on the 7th, Venus is trining Uranus, like I said. So this is really great. But what makes it even better is the same day, Mars will be sextiling Neptune. Okay. So this is really, really like, oh my goodness. If you're single, like, take advantage. Okay. If you're in a relationship, this is just really nice. This is a day where you look into someone's eyes and see their soul. Like, this is just so nice. This is Mars sextiling Neptune is like, it's almost like there's this really big drive in spirituality, in like your higher purpose. Like, you will definitely feel this day, okay? The 7th. Now, let's keep going with another day that is rare. I already talked about it. Mars conjuncting Pluto on the 13th, okay? The same day, Venus will sextile Neptune. Okay. So remember, very harmonious aspect, very romantic aspect. I mean, and I explain this in your readings, like, even if you're not here for love, I mean, being romantic toward the things that you love, that you're passionate about. It can be romantic toward the arts, or travel, or Neptune is in Pisces, so a lot of creativity, a lot of imagination. think about what inspires you, what really moves you around this time. But remember, this is the day that Mars is conjuncting Pluto too. Really, really big. Now we have, I'm gonna save that one. There's some aspects I'm not gonna mention because I'm gonna surprise you in the reading. Unless you want me to tell you, and then I will. You let me know. Um, but of course, so on the 18th, we move into Pisces season. Okay. And so you will start feeling all that Pisces energy. And we will talk more about it in the weekly readings too. But that Pisces energy, I mean, we have the sun, that's the sun moving into Pisces. The Mercury moves into Pisces on the 22nd. Neptune is in Pisces, Saturn is in Pisces. So you're going to start feeling a lot of that Pisces energy. It is going to be a thing. Now, on the 21st is when Venus conjuncts Mars. I remember, put that in your calendar. And remember, Venus and Mars are still in Aquarius, though. Okay. Now, I don't really talk about this in your monthly forecast, but I do like the square on the 23rd, Venus squaring Jupiter. I just want you to know this is one where it's like, sure, squares are but I like this one. This one is really just telling you, if you feel that things have been really hard and things have been you've been on the go, you're this machine. This day is that day where it's just take a break, go socialize, have a moment for yourself, have fun for yourself. Okay. And this comes right before the full moon in Virgo. The full moon in Virgo on the 24th is a big one. I'm going to talk about it more. When we get to the week. Just know that Jupiter is trining this full moon. Okay. A lot of other things happening, but this is a big one. And then the 28th is the day. This is a big day. We have the Mercury Kazemi. We have the Sun conjuncting Mercury and Saturn. Okay. So listen, Saturn Kazemi, these Saturn conjunctions with the Sun, sure, they're hard, but they're this refresh. There's this sense of getting really serious about, okay, I know what I want. I'm going for it. Remember, Saturn is, the planet of hard knocks. It's, a planet of responsibilities. It can be burdensome, but Saturn is a big test. And so it rewards you because Saturn, there's a sense of karma here too. And so it's really going through all those, whatever Saturn's throwing you. And it could be it feels like this boulder on your shoulder. Every sign is feeling it differently, right? Gemini risings, Geminis, for instance, Saturn's in your, 10th house of career. There's a lot of career shifts and maybe even just heaviness around career. So, but this is a day because it's Mercury conjuncting Saturn, the Sun conjuncting Saturn, the Sun conjuncting Mercury. I mean, this is huge. This is huge. This is a huge breakthrough moment. It's almost like there is going to be this restructuring that you're going to be focusing on. Okay, restructuring your life in a different way. There's so much and it only happens once a year. All right, so this is happening in February. We're just boom, boom, boom. Any questions so far? The other day that is really nice, it happens literally after the 28th, on the day of the leap year day, the 29th, February 29th, Mercury will sextile Jupiter. And so, wow, if there's anything you need to communicate, now is the time. If there's an important conversation you need to have, if you get a contract, some of y'all could get a contract. This is the day to sign. This is the day to have job interviews, negotiate, make big decisions. This is you've really got to make the most of this day. And this one, actually, the Mercury sextiling Jupiter happens an average twice a year, okay? And so the next one is, I think it's in July. The next one's in July. And we'll talk about it when we get to July. But so again, this is a rare aspect happening twice a year. Come on. This is rare and this is good and this is a great day. One of the reasons why, and I only talked about this in a few forecasts, but the day after in March 1st, on March 1st, and I know we're not talking about March now, but the only reason I'm bringing this up because on the 29th, Mercury will sextile Jupiter, but then on March 1st, the day after, the Sun will sextile Jupiter. I mean, ah. Yeah, I mean, this remember, Jupiter is optimistic. It's good fortune, it's good luck, it's prosperity, it's expansion. I mean, this is just a very special aspect that you do not want to sleep on. All right. You do not want to sleep on this. This is just really, really nice. And again, actually, the sun sextiling Jupiter, that's twice a year. That one, the second one happens in August. But that's when we're entering like retrograde season. So this is the one that's just like there's no retrogrades. Like do it. Do it. So a lot of y'all who here feels like their life is changing. Can you leave a note, an emoji, something where you feel like your life is changing, your life has been changing, you've been feeling changes. I mean, you will continue to feel them in February. Now, some aspects that I want you to just be mindful of. Mindful of. But wait, any questions so far? Da, 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 da. Amy, you said you want to book a holiday for March in the last weeks regarding reading. You said to do things in January, not February. So should I book this? Oh, yeah. So when I talked about like in your last week's readings, do everything in January, it's only because of the lineup of what's happening the last week of January. And so it's almost like you have all it's like very optimal, especially because there's a cluster of great aspects that are happening. February, yeah, you can still do everything you want in February, but it's almost like you want to put things in motion this week and then feel it expand and move forward and put energy toward it in February. So it's not to say you can't launch things in February or do things in February, plan things in February. It's just like an optimal time to get started now. To get started now and then let things unfurl. It's especially because we're going to get to these squares I'm going to talk about. But I hope that answers her question. March is there's no retrogrades in March. Let me just pull that up real quick. Let me just double check for you. March is when we have. What are you thinking? I mean, we have a lot of great stuff happening in March. Mars will square Uranus in March, but again, March 1st is literally the best day of the month, okay? With the sun sextiling Jupiter. March, we also have the full moon. The lunar eclipse. Well, yeah, it is a full moon lunar eclipse. So we come to our first eclipse in March, which we'll talk about in March. But yeah, I just like it's you can't. I was I guess I didn't mean to say you can't plan things in February. It's just it would be nice to put things in motion now in January, at the last week of January. Just with with what's happening, it's just so nice. But then there are like the first 2 weeks of February, like really nice to plan things and to put things in motion. But then we do have those squares. So, okay. Anyone else? Katie, yeah, okay, yeah. I'll have. I mean, I can do it too. I just want to spread the wealth, and I want to. Jean, you said Susan King is amazing. She is. Oh, you're speaking with her again. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Oh, I love Susan. I'm gonna. You know what? I'll do it. I'll have her back on the. I'll have her back. Um, Karen, you have great attraction power. That's awesome. I love that. You said, I'm sure the universe will deliver what you need. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Katie, you said, what do you mean when you say Pisces energy? Yes. So that's a good question. And so it's this what it is where it's like all the planets that are in Pisces, but Pisces season represents something different for everyone. Okay. So it's uh like let's say for instance let's take Gemini again. Okay. Pisces rules Gemini's 10th house. Okay. And so they're going to feel a lot of activity in career. 10th house is career, among many other things. But Saturn will be in Pisces. Saturn's in Pisces, Neptune's in Pisces, the sun's moving in Pisces, Mercury's moving in Pisces, eventually Venus is moving in Pisces, Mars is moving in Pisces. So you see how there's so much activity in Pisces season that will affect career for Geminis. I hope that answers your question. um okay, so everyone is feeling changes. Yes, there you should. It is a big time. It's a big time of change. Huge time of change. Really, really nice. Again, the first 6 months of 2024, I love. There are, obviously some aspects that are just like, watch out. That could be a cliff, but a short one. You could hop down if you wanted to. All right, so let's get to the aspects I want you to watch out for February. That will be on February 8th, the Sun squaring Uranus. So this is when something could be a little bit challenging, starting to come up. Now, here's the thing. Remember, Uranus is all about breakthroughs, right? So it is like that's why I make that wall analogy, like breaking through that wall. The other thing is Uranus is surprises and the unexpected. I mean, it's innovation as well. There's a lot of things that rules, but it's something surprising could come up around this time. Now, it is happening around the time of the new moon in Aquarius. So this new moon is kind of tricky. I like this. I like it, but the sun squaring it is just again something that's just watch out for that because there is something that could be uh, um something surprising, but also something that is just like again kind of like a squeeze. Now, the next thing that's happening would be where is it? The week after on the 16th, that's when Mercury squares Uranus. So now you have the sun and Mercury squaring Uranus, which it depends on your chart. It depends on your rising sign, things like that too. But you will definitely feel this. Okay, this square, and remember, Uranus just went direct and is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So everyone's going to feel this in a different area in their life. But I would say on the 16th, what makes it really interesting, not only will Mercury square Uranus, but Venus is moving into Aquarius that day. And so just with Mercury squaring Uranus alone, because now we're talking about the planet of communication, and writing and speaking and logic and whatnot. Squaring Uranus surprises, right, and the unexpected. But this is just not a time, especially because it's a square. This is not a time to sign a contract. You do not want to sign a contract this day. Maybe even avoid the day after. What day? The 14th is. Let me see. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. 16th is Friday. Okay. Yeah. So wait, just don't do anything on that Friday. And then Friday is also like, remember, it is a planet of communication. So be careful with like the things that you say. Be careful with the things that you say. We're coming right after Mercury conjuncting Pluto. I said there's a lot of power in words. And the fact that Mercury is squaring Uranus the same day Venus is moving into Aquarius, which is very like free spirited. There could be some things that you casually say that's like, maybe not just and it may not be you, it could be someone else saying something to you and you're just like, that was unexpected and surprising. And I don't know how to react to that. But yeah, I always say it, no but anyways. Those are the big ones that sometimes like subconsciously it's one of those. I think like personally for me, it's always been something that I laugh at, but I can remember just way back to like even college, just having this moment where it's like that is like something I'm not cool with. When you're having a conversation with someone, you're telling a story, and then the person is just like, after you finish your story, they're like, but anyway, because it's so dismissive. It's so don't do that. Don't say that. Because I sometimes I'm like I'm very mindful of that. But I'm always aware when someone says that. I'm like, okay, that's the last thing I remember about you. No, I'm joking. Let's anybody have any questions? Does anybody but anyway? I verbed it. Okay, everyone's just feeling these really big changes. Gigi, you put 2 great trips on the books, one in February, spiritual manifesting journey. I love it. For birthday, happy birthday. And one in April, fun and social for husband's birthday. That is amazing. Oh gosh, April is big. April's a big month. I mean, it's one of the biggest months, if not the biggest month of it's huge. It's a big month. And again, it is one of those months where it's really powerful. It's going to be a month where some of y'all are just going to feel a lot of changes. And it's just going to be and it can be really powerful. So it's like working with those energies at that time. We do have that eclipse in Aries, total eclipse, actually total solar eclipse. Huge. Does anybody have any questions about any of February, with the best days, with the days where I'm just like, oh, watch out. Any of the conjunctions, what conjunctions mean? Anyone else have like a birthday in February? Anyone doing anything fun for Valentine's Day? I mean, this is just like, again, this is a February that's just like in my recent memory, like just even looking back at a lot of the aspects in the past years, this is the most significant February that we've had in many years, but definitely of the decade so far. Okay, of the decade so far, a lot happening here. A lot happening. I didn't even like what time. Oh gosh, I didn't even talk about like all the conjunct. There's so many. There's so many happening. But anyway, um, but you see that it's loaded with like all these great aspects. There's just so many. And then 26. I mean, like, and that's just like there's definitely a lot more than 26. Those are just like the major ones that I'm just like, okay, it's a big month. It's a big month. Okay. Any questions? Anything? Karen, when you say there will be movement in career for Scorpios, is that all month? Well, it really depends on, again, like your rising. It would be mostly like rising that you would want to pay attention to. But yeah, all Scorpios will feel a sense of activity with this, because this full moon coming up is in Leo, and Leo rules your 10th house as a Scorpio. All right. So yeah, you will you're probably even thinking about it. Well, you probably, because you asked the question, but that's the thing, is like you may I mean, it's Sunday, but some of y'all may even start feeling the energy of the full moon, before we even get there. And so it's probably something that you're thinking about. Maybe it's on your mind. Maybe there's some things that you're considering, but with the fact that for Scorpios, the North Node moved into Aries in your 6th house. So, I mean, there's an element of work there too. The process of work, like labor, hiring employees, like things like that. Okay. But then you have Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus, that's in your 7th house for the next 6 months, 5 months. And that's in partnerships, and that can be career as well. So, it really is a lot of a lot happening um, on that front. Katie, you asked overall, what is the luckiest day? I would have to say, that's a good question on for the month. The luckiest day would be, I mean, it really would be, it really would be March 1st. But if you package the 29th and March 1st together, Mercury and the Sun sextiling Jupiter, that really is kind of like the luckiest day. The other lucky day would be Valentine's Day when you have the Moon in Taurus conjuncting Jupiter. Okay, so we're looking at Jupiter, the planet of good luck. I would even say some of y'all may consider the 7th lucky, but more, it's not really luck. It's more just like something surprising that's very moving for you. Okay, so but there's so many great days throughout the entire month. I mean, but yeah, I would say like the last day of the month would be like would be considered like the luckiest with those sextiles with Jupiter, and also Valentine's Day could be, like I said, you could be lucky around things with the Moon in Taurus conjuncting Jupiter. Oh, and Karen, yeah, you are Leo rising. So yeah, career is just a big thing for you. Okay. If you are truly Scorpio Leo rising, yes, that will be a big thing. All right. In general, just for, because again, Leo, all you have Jupiter in your 10th house, but you also have Uranus there too. Uranus just went direct, or is going direct at the end of the month. I mean, like there's just so much happening career wise. And then so yeah, there's that overlap for you. But uh February will be a big month for a career. Am I getting lucky? That's up to you. That's up to you. All right, y'all. Does anybody have any other? I feel like I'm sinking down in my chair here. Does anybody have any other questions or anything? Well, I hope that you enjoy your Sunday. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for being members. Y'all, it means so much to me. I really want you to enjoy this week. There's so many great things that are happening, but then just know February is going to be big. And it's really funny because it's just remember a lot of these Pluto conjunctions. I've always said, like, Pluto is a planet that's asking, are you going to fear me or are you going to own me? So some of them can be really intense. All right. It's how you handle that energy. It's how you handle like how in the moment during those 2 days. So it is just a very unique month. It's a very unique month. But anyway, y'all, I'll see you and I'll send you a thing for next month where we talk about March. I'm gonna hopefully get some guests on board. I just don't know when that will be because it's again, like I said, like with all this Capricorn energy, all this, everyone's just so busy. Y'all are really busy. There's a lot happening. But I'll let you know. Okay. And so enjoy the rest of the week. I'm very excited for or the rest of the month, actually. We're still like only on January 21st. And then February is gonna come. And I will post your February forecast on Wednesday, and they're long and there's a lot to talk about. And there's everyone's going to see that you are going to have a really big month, okay, for February. So with that said, y'all, thanks so much. I will see you next month. All right. Enjoy your weekends. Bye, everybody. And thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.